minute. Guys, how are you? Hope all is well. Happy New Year to everyone. This is a little impromptu live we've got going on today. Obviously, big day, embargo day, Callaway, TaylorMade have got the embargo. You guys may have seen we have a couple of reviews of the new stealth driver out there. We were supposed to be in Vegas, Michael.
Viva Las Vegas.
Viva Las Vegas. But the virus has a different agenda for us.
Yep.
So we're here and we're live with you. So we're going to join Mr. Johnny Wunder, good friend of ours, and another good friend, Dave Neville. Join the boys and we're going to dive right in there.
Excited. Some cool stuff.
Some very cool stuff. Before we get the boys in, initial thoughts on the product?
Like I said, excited. I like it. I think it looks good. It looks mean. I'm excited to start fitting with it and getting in customers' hands.
Without a doubt.
I think it all comes down to and we talked about this, Mike, on the podcast. You know, we had the chance to look at this and go through these presentations, and it's the idea that they're always looking for constant improvement.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's fine tuning, it's fine tuning performance. We see that again now with Callaway because they've got 4 drivers, right? Like this fits right in our wheelhouse. This is the idea of fitting, and it comes down to fitting. It comes down to what works for every individual golfer.
Yeah.
And that's what the line kind of really offers for everybody, from triple diamond, high swing speed players, all the way down to hybrids that I think go down to like an 8 hybrid.
Yeah. No, I mean that's it. And there've been these other triple diamonds, tour heads, and stuff like that, and kind of think maybe the frustrations of the consumer. Cal have listened to that with bringing out some more of these models, making them more accessible. It's the way it should be. It's kind of the way it is on tour. There are subtly different heads available for the tour boys, depending on what they need. Same for the consumer. It's just all about sort of having these options. So, guys, we're going to get Dave and Johnny in just shortly. We just need to send them this little link, boys. Well, there's some questions coming in on the left hand side there.
We got RB.
Happy New Year to everybody.
Lots of Happy New Years in there. Right there, my boy.
Mike's got the notes. There we go.
This is our first video in a couple weeks. We've all been away.
Feels like the first one in longer than that.
We got a bunch of Happy New Year. When does the Cobra embargo lift? Jan, what is it, 19th?
17th?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't. You like to talk about your trip? You probably need to talk about your trip.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good. New product from Cobra, not because I was there. It's light years better than what they have right now, and I'm excited to see the testing with that. That'll be impressive.
Bryson was showing off some ball speed. They kind of teased some things, right, on some of that stuff, and I know he's done a lot of the videos recently where he's been showing that off. So
some personal records were broken.
You breaking any PRs, Mike, this year?
Yeah.
My goal.
Ian, how was your trip to the homeland?
It was fantastic. Absolutely loved it. It was great to be back with the family, first time in 3 years. Wish you could have joined me. You were planning on playing some golf, weren't we?
Yeah, cancelled last minute.
But no, it was great.
Good.
It was great. Loved it.
Good.
Typical Scottish weather.
Rain. Yeah, I was gonna say rain back to what, -10, -11 here we're dealing with in Toronto.
No, it's always something keeping us off those golf courses. But I managed 2 9 holes and a range session.
Some new alignment sticks.
And some nice new alignments, like Scott sticks. They're nice, aren't they?
Yeah, they are nice.
Really impressed with them. No, it was good. Mr. Wunder. So the boys are here. Let's just let a few more people join, which is great.
So we got a question already. Someone's asking, I know we got Cali guys in, but someone's asked about, do you think there's any issue of wear from like the carbon face of the TaylorMade?
Do I say that again?
Wear on the club face? Like any issues with wearing because of that? Or I mean,
no.
I always think like people assume, they think of like older product or something like that, or maybe they've seen it before, but this is not new for those guys because they did it with the Glory driver like 6 or 7 years, 5 years ago now almost, I think it was. So it's all about being able to just, again, as I said earlier, applying what's available from a technology standpoint and, in this case, tuning it up for swing speed, right?
Well, we're going to chat with Johnny and Dave about that, when it comes to this. I mean, the learnings that come from a larger data set. Ultimately that's what the Callaway supercomputer is all about, is a larger data set.
We have the face there. It's,
Yeah.
with the camera, it's like, it looks like someone dropped a pebble.
That's right. That's exactly what it is.
It just kind of like
ripples in
out.
a pond, isn't it?
So I think it's kind of neat.
No, it really is. And, again, let's leave it to the experts to dive, deep into kind of what they found with this iteration, because the supercomputer's now been in use for, probably three editions or 4 editions.
4,
Yeah.
Love it. So without further ado, let's get the boys in there. Let's get the lads in. Let's see if we get Nev. There's Mr. Neville. Mr. Wunder.
What's up?
How are you, my friend?
Doing okay. Happy launch day, boys.
Happy launch day to you, boys. Busy day so far. Dave, how are you?
I'm doing great. Good to see you guys. Happy New Year. Yes, it is a busy day so far. Launch day, always one of the best days of the year.
Yep. And the boys, it looks like the boys are cut off, but they're well and truly here. They're just another
Good to see 'em. What's up?
Yeah.
Hi, Mikey.
Hey,
Hi, Ryan. What's up, boys?
Let's kind of start at the top. This is an exciting line. We've just talked a little bit about 4 drivers, why 4 drivers, what it offers to the marketplace. Some people look at it like 4 drivers, it's confusing, it's difficult, and then other people go, well, there's all these heads available to tour players, and why do we not get access to it? Like, all these sorts of things. They do, don't they? I mean, but it's options, and ultimately it's tools for the fitters like ourselves and yourselves when you're at demo days and at the ECPC. More tools to do a better job with. So, Dave, maybe start from your standpoint. During the process of bringing Rogue to life, what was that journey like?
Yeah, it's always a balance when we're kind of looking at the models, because you guys know we've had the adjustable perimeter weight in the past, and that's been great for the fitters. But whenever we've had dedicated models, it seems to do extremely well for us. So, for example, we've got the draw model in this mix, which we didn't have with the Epic in the past. So it's going to have more draw bias than what you can do with Epic, even with the sliding weight. Right. And then as we get to the other end of the spectrum with the triple diamond, we were going to go with just 3 models. But like you said, we heard so much feedback this past year about the triple diamond with the Epic. And they say, oh, the tour players get stuff that we can't get. And you have a whole different lineup for the tour players, which is, that's bogus. So we wanted to bring the triple diamond and have it available at launch. We still think it's going to be very nichey, maybe 5% of the population, but we have it, and people can test it. And for that type of player who wants to play the same type of driver that, say, John Rahm is going to have, or Phil Mickelson, they have that opportunity now.
Yeah, JW, you're connected to the consumer with everything that you do, in the world of Wunder, all the Reddit stuff, social media, all that sort of stuff. Tell us a little bit of the early buzz and thoughts of the consumer so far. What you hearing?
Well, yeah. So far, what's been really, I guess, pleasing to see is I think people are starting to understand what we were trying to do here. Like Callaway Golf's always made a fast face, right? We've always made a fast driver, and I think they're starting to accept that. From the comments that I'm reading, is they're starting to understand that we are refining our methods. We are creating more nuance into a driver to more or less make the whole user experience good. The misses are as quality as the center strikes are. Like, that's always the chase. And, I've had a good time not just talking about constant, how low is the spin and how far does it go? People are very, very curious about how these things are going to do on the golf course. And in early testing with our tour guys, when I was at RSM, you're going to get the ball speeds from our driver every launch that we do. We are a speed company. But what I was really pleased when I was at RSM and we were testing with Fratelli and Gooch and a lot of the guys out there, they all loved the quality of strike out of the toe and out of the heel. And from some of these early testers, some of the YouTube things that I've seen, they're experiencing the same things that I experienced and the same things that the tour guys did, which is the quality of strike and the quality of shot that you're getting out on the slight mishits and even some of the big mishits. So, that for me is exciting because ultimately, Dave, our job here is to try and make golfers better. Put tools in your hands that are actually going to help your golf scores. And, it's really fun to see people that have hit it before it launched, some tours, some club professional players that have tried it. They're astonished by how good this thing performs out on the golf course. Yeah. And I got a DM from Phil Mickelson independently, which is just weird enough as it's, just to say, but independently DM'd me and said, have you hit the new driver? I cannot believe how good this thing is. And that was like fanboy gearhead Phil Mickelson geeking out on the new driver. And the sentiment's been pretty consistent throughout. People are just curious. They love how it looks. They love how it sounds, but it's performing. The nuance is coming through, which, I use that word a lot when it comes to golf equipment, especially our stuff, but our nuance and what we are starting to do really well with AI flash face and all the tech that we build into these things. It's going to be a very, very interesting, fun year with these drivers. I would say we probably know 40% of what there is to know right now about these things. And the other 60% is going to be really interesting to find out.
It's such a good shout, that, Johnny, because I feel like that every year when new product comes out, that the initial impression, so call it the January impression, is not always what you think in March and April. You evolve once you kind of learn, okay, this strike pattern, actually that head works really well, and how people perceive different heads and things like that. So, it uncovers itself in time. It's whatever we say today, or takes today, aren't always our takes in a few months' time. So I think that's a really good take from you.
Well, that was the fun thing about Epic Speed. My first year with Callaway, I was still learning about that driver. Even with you, when you and I met, I was still learning things about that driver, even into November and December. And I'm out on tour. I've hit it a million times. Truth be told, I was like, I don't know how they're going to make this thing any better, because Epic Speed to me was very, 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 very good golf club.
Yeah.
And once again, seeing the testing, and especially the tour testing, and watching the best players in the world notice little things that are like, whoa, I haven't seen that in 3 or 4, like, wow, and their eyes go like that. It's gonna be a fun journey of discovery with the Rogue family across the board, on all the drivers. It's not just the triple diamond, the gearhead stuff, right? I mean, it's I was impressed with the D head, all bias head. That one spun my head around. So anyway, yeah, it's gonna be fun.
I think that's the thing. I mean, Mike and I, we talked about it on a podcast a little while ago, or actually just came out the other day. Is the idea that when it comes to offerings that you guys have, there is the range of product for players that are at the very high end of the swing speed and the low end of the swing speed. Because I think you said it perfectly, Johnny. People think that like low spin's always, the driving force of distance, but in reality, for players that are at the lower end of the spectrum, spin retention on good shots as well as miss hits is really what, and this definitely applies to the drivers, the fairway woods, the hybrids, is being able to like see the ball get up in the air. Because I know I see players all the time, and I hear from random people when I play golf with them, like, you hit the ball really high, and I'm like, no, you just hit the ball too low. And they don't realize that that's hopefully the trajectory you're actually trying to hit to. And when players who don't normally see that flight and they see it, it's like, wow, this is actually pretty game-changing for my game, because I know I can carry that next hazard or stop it on the green. All those things really add up.
Well, I'll let Dave comment on this as well, but start lines is something that has come up a lot. Your start lines, the quality of the start line on the miss hit, which is what the tour guys saw. And I think a lot of that has to do with the Tungsten speed cartridge and how they place the CG and the MOI. And I'll let Dave, he's the smarter one here, take that away. But that's been a big topic of conversation, is the quality of the start line out of a miss hit. You're not getting those ones that go way this way or way that way. They're starting on line and holding their integrity a long time. So Dave, I'll let you explain how we did that, because that's a huge piece of the puzzle, I think.
Yeah, I think on the AI side, people hear the AI, and we've been using it for a few years now, but they don't realize the continued investments that we're making in the AI. You know, several $1 million over the last few years allows us to do more iterations and to put more and more and different constraints into the system. So we're always working on, you know, center punch ball speed, but beyond that, and I'm holding up the face. I don't know if you guys
Yeah,
can see that a little bit reflective in there, but
same guy
um,
right here.
what we're looking at is not just speed, but launch and spin as well. And just in this face, in the max model, we've been able to take about 100 to 150 RPM of spin out using the face, and that allows us to do some of the things that we're doing with the Tungsten speed cartridge, which has over 20 grams, kind of really low and deep, to give you that ball speed consistency across the face as well. So it's like you said, Ryan, spin rate, retention across the face, but also ball speed retention across the face, and that's kind of the combo between the AI face and what we're doing with the Tungsten speed cartridge.
Like I mean, a conversation piece like start direction, launch direction. Those that's a pretty new conversation, I would say. That type of stuff. I think that it's been very two-dimensional, the conversation about ball speed, launch and spin, ball speed, launch and spin, but the ability to influence start line and curvature and get the balance of all that right, that's a really new piece, I think, to talk about, for a lot of consumers and dealing with their misses and things like that. I'm excited that that's something that's a real big part of the focus on the Rogue family.
Yeah, I would
Well, yeah,
say it's going to
go ahead, Dave.
go.
Go ahead.
I would say it's a little bit of fitting, say 301 or 401 kind of advanced level fitting,
Yes,
but that's
absolutely.
one of the reasons to bring the triple diamond into the mix, because the start line is really good. You're seeing a lot of better players, a lot of tour players. They want to start the ball left and hit a little cut. It
Mm-hmm.
used to be you're maximizing distance by hitting the draw, but now a lot of the top speed guys they want to play that little cut. So the idea of having this triple diamond model is 450cc, having kind of that straighter top line, deeper face, what people want to look at, but also getting the start line. So you were going to say something, Johnny? Jump in there.
Yeah, I was also going to say, it goes across for the other heads too as well. Like if you take somebody like my old man that is a sort of a perennial left to right slicer guy, his start line matters. Where he
Mm-hmm.
starts it matters, and where he starts it with what spin and what speed consistently matters. And those are the things, in my opinion, in my 25 plus year, I can't believe I'm saying that, playing golf. Those little things, what tracks your eye when you hit a shot matters to your memory of a good golf club. And like I said this in the article that I wrote for the World of Wonder, center strikes are center strikes. Like they're
Right.
all pretty sexy.
Stable.
The thing that separates a great driver from one that's serviceable throughout the year, to me, is quality of start line and quality of miss. Are your toe hits going to dive out of the air, and are your heel hits going to fly to the right with a ton of spin and get out of your hand? And I have not seen yet in my testing or on any of the tour guys that countless tour guys that I've been involved with or been present for the testing app. None of them have had that ball out of your hand miss where they hit it and like, that spiked way too high. I haven't seen that with Rogue yet, and we're talking 300 or 400 shots witnessed. That's a lot. It's a pretty good data area. So anyway, I think it's important to note that it's across Max D, and LS, including obviously the triple diamonds are going to do that anyway. But it's pretty cool to see.
We've got the kind of questions coming in at the side here. One of the guys, Clayton Anderson's just asking there, guys, the weight placement is huge in the driver. Break it down, Dave. So talk to us a little bit about that. What are the key elements about this sort of gold bar at the back?
Yeah, exactly. So what we're doing with the Tungsten speed cartridge, we'll just give a little quick background here, because Johnny was mentioning it earlier, and you were mentioning it, Ian, about how things kind of changed during the year. So last year, the Epic Speed model was kind of our core model. That was our main model, but we found our best selling was actually the Epic Max. And so for this year, our core model is going to be the Max driver. And I think you guys have that. You have the break apart there. But what we have in the back of all of the models is what we're calling this Tungsten speed cartridge. So on the outside, what's visible is this anodized aluminum back cap, but underneath there, you've got tungsten and a TPU urethane mold over the top of it, a little similar to what we've done with the tungsten energy core in the irons, and also the TCB irons that have the tungsten in the back as well. So it's kind of a little bit of a change in philosophy there. With the Epic Speed, we had more of a forward CG, which was good for spin rate consistency, and this is going to be really good for ball speed consistency across the face. So depending on the model, it's up to 26 grams in the whole kind of assembly that's there when you combine the back cap and the tungsten and the over mold and the whole thing that holds it into place. And then in the Max D model, which is our dedicated draw model, you've got a 2-gram weight screw in the heel. Obviously the fitters can change this as well, but then you've got a rib structure also that holds it. So you got about 7 extra grams in the heel to really help with that draw bias, a little bit lighter in the back. And then with Max LS, you've got 23 grams in the back there. And then the triple diamond, which we've been talking about, that's got that forward weight screw also with the 6-gram weight screw. I don't know if you can see that. Maybe I need to take the plastic wrap off of this bad boy. But yeah, so 4 models, all 20 plus grams in the tungsten speed cartridge. And that is both for stability, but also for the speed on the off-center hits. And Johnny's been touching on this, but I think we're calling it our fastest, most stable drivers ever. And that's the thing that I've seen so far is obviously these things are very, very fast. These have the CORs are incredible on them, but very stable. We're talking about over 9,000 MOI on the Max model with a ton of ball speed. It's just a combination we haven't had at Callaway in the past. So a lot of stability on these drivers with a lot of speed.
Sure. So I just have one question, which I think is like, you mentioned something really interesting, and we've got these cutouts here. When we talk about this kind of stuff, like I can remember back in Johnny, not quite to your point as far as years is concerned, but working back in golf retail, say 15 years ago, if a driver came apart, we were all fascinated to look inside of it because these things really weren't available to us. And to be honest, a lot of times there really wasn't much to show. Loose welds, you'd kind of get stuff going on inside of these things. You see this now, and this is a cutaway, but this is exactly what's getting put together in a consumer product. And there's really not an ounce of misplaced material, is there, in any of these? And that's how has the manufacturing side of that evolved to allow you guys and the engineers to take a product and go, okay, we are constantly saving material that allows us to make our drivers more stable, more forgiving, and then just provide that overall better performance.
Yeah, the construction methods have gotten so much better, incredibly better, because it's one thing to design a driver, but it's another thing to build it. It's another thing to actually put it in production. And what you're seeing, like with this jailbreak speed frame, this is something just a few years ago we could have never even produced. This is a titanium frame that's cast integral to the body. This unibody construction that you're seeing here, very, very high tech. And then what we're doing with the tungsten speed cartridge, extremely complicated to be able to manufacture this. Of course, it's got a triaxial carbon crown on the top. So, people say, oh, it's not rocket science. Well, yeah, it really is rocket science. And putting these things together is extremely difficult, and making them durable, being able to manufacture them and making them to just extremely tight tolerances. We talk about, aerospace, military grade type of tolerances on these drivers. And
to your point, right? One of the things that when it comes to variants, grooves on irons, grooves on wedges is something that always comes up, right? But we're looking at the face on the driver now, and there's texture on that, right? That's not just there to be there. That is there as well as far as being able to, help with spin and around the face, create that texture and create that friction, so you don't get those kind of quote unquote flyery shots, right?
Yeah, so the ripples and the bumps, this is a titanium face, and it's machined into the back of the face. And that's where we use the AI to put in different constraints into the system in terms of maximizing ball speed, but the spin rates, what we want to do for the launch angle. And that's different for every driver. So what we want to do with the triple diamond is different from what we want to do with the Max D. And so the faces of those are different. And then you get in the fairway woods, every one of those has different lofts. Every one of those has a unique face. Same thing with the irons. So we've produced just about 100 different AI faces in this entire Rogue family lineup, which is just a massive, massive achievement. Others kind of talking about that they're dabbling in AI, but we feel like we have a huge lead there. And that's something that you can't really do with the other materials, what we're doing, machining into the face. So when you look at faces of the competitive drivers, they're just way more basic than what we're doing here. And we love to ask Doc Hawk, our head of R&D, like, what, why is it a little bit thicker there? Why is it thinner in another spot? And you can't answer it. It's a global optimization. It's what the supercomputer is coming back to. But then you got to be able to manufacture that and actually machine that into thousands of different faces.
Very cool.
Boys, I mean, obviously, there's today is going to be Embargo Day. We call it, especially today with Callaway launching product, Tailor launching product. This is a little bit of a Super Bowl Sunday for us. That's why we were scrambling a little bit. I just get back from Scotland, and we just wanted to do this with you guys, so we couldn't miss out on this. But tell us a little bit about what won't be heard today on maybe some other channels. What's some of the things you're really proud about that didn't quite make, maybe it wasn't sexy enough to quite make the marketing kind of script, but what about Rogue that real people should pay attention to?
I'll let Johnny start on that one. I've been talking a lot.
I'll start on that one. I guess the things that were not, I guess, you'd have to go, if it was more rabbit hole information. I think for the fitters, like what I'm excited for, that's not really being prioritized quite yet, which it will, for guys like you, Ian, and Mike, and Ryan, and fitters across, is I think when it comes to dialing these drivers in, if we're talking specifically about the drivers, I think you're going to have some interesting tunability with these heads. That process is going to be interesting, especially with that Tungsten speed cartridge in the back, and sort of the way that the center of gravity and the heads, the way that they're all put together. It's going to offer some new opportunities for fitters, and that's based on some of the things like Dean Teckel, who's on our truck, and Kellen Watson, who's on our truck. Some of the things that they've noticed that they've been able to do to get players dialed in. That's going to be an interesting thing to watch, and it's not really getting publicized right now because it's a little more granular. And the other thing is just how good they look. Right now it's always like, what does it do? What does it do? What does it do? I mean, at the same time, I get excited about the carbon crown.
Yeah.
I like the color scheme.
Love the color.
I think this driver has serious curb appeal. And there's a lot of great looking drivers that are coming out today. And there's obviously one other one that's out there that's a good looking driver. I've seen it in person, but I think we passed the street test, man. This is a cool looking driver. And the shapes are beautiful. And if we have 4 drivers across the line and people say, why do we have so many? We're giving everybody obviously options, but all 4 of them look quality. There's not like that one off that's kind of like we had to throw in there. Like every single one of the drivers we have in our line has been thought out, crafted, curated. And that part I'm excited about. So I guess we're talking about it a little bit, but the whole package to me is very, very exciting. There's not one thing I'm stoked on. I'm kind of stoked on the whole thing. I'm excited to go to battle with these this year. It's going to be a fun fight.
Yeah, I
good. Say 2 things on my side. One thing is just the massive amount of work that it takes behind the scenes to produce this family. Because everybody hears Rogue, they hear Rogue ST, they think of it as kind of, it's one product. But if you think about the drivers, there's 4 different drivers plus the women's version. On the irons, there's 4 different irons, the hybrids, the fairway woods. There is so much work that has gone just over the past 2+ years into this, with the engineering team, with the ops team, the marketing team. I mean, there's been so much work going on, and you just don't see it behind the scenes. So that's one big thing for me. And then on the technical side is around these jailbreak systems. And people hear jailbreak and they think it's the same across the board. But here's the jailbreak for the driver, and then I'm pulling out the hybrid here, and then we got these 2 little mini speed frames. I hope you guys can see that.
Yeah.
Kind of pushed out to the corner. And then on the fairway wood, which we didn't even get to talk about it, but this thing's absolutely gorgeous as well. Mm-hmm. And there's a different jailbreak system in the fairway also with this bat wing technology in it that look like little bat wings spread out to the perimeter. So all of these, we're looking at every single model and how do we get the most performance out of each of the different models. And there's so much work going on behind the scenes. So we're just so proud and happy and excited to kind of start to reveal that right now.
Yeah, we haven't even gotten in. I mean, to me, Dave, and you'll probably agree with this, the Furry Woods are a completely different YouTube live.
Yeah.
The Furry Woods are a whole nother. They almost live on an island by themselves because of how well they've tested. And just in my own, I mean, Ian, I did it at your shop.
I know.
I have it on camera. The first time I actually really hit it, one of the prototypes, and I was flying at 15, 16 yards past my gamer, and I was just like, how is that possible? So once again, we're just talking drivers right now, but the Furry Woods are stupendous. So anyway.
Yeah, I mean, we've got kind of little pieces of the whole line here. We've got hybrids, and that's the thing. And obviously we know today's a huge day for you guys. We want to obviously be respectful of your time and kind of give the people the overview, and then as this rolls out, we'll kind of do the independent testing of the whole line. But it's been brilliant to chat with you boys about it. The looks, the sound. One of the things that to me, and I consumed a little bit this morning because we were obviously a little bit later to do this, so I consumed some opinions on this morning. Everyone seems to not fallen in love, but be in love with the sound of the driver.
And that's something that we've been working on for a number of years. And I think people don't really realize that, but we've applied the AI now to the sound of the driver as well. And we know with the Epic Flash, it kind of got a little bit away from our our Callaway sound. And then people really liked the Maverick. And now with this Rogue ST, it's been just about universal that people love the sound of it. I mean, it has kind of that true kind of Callaway thwack, and it's across all the models, and all the models are different. And so when you get this Max D and it's got the holders and the ribs in there, all of that needs to be put into the AI system as well. And how do we get the ribs in the right orientation? How long are they going to be? What kind of sound duration are they going to give us? So people think that the sound thing is kind of luck, but it's not. There's a ton of work that goes into that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I can hear in your voice how proud you are of this line, and I hope people are getting an appreciation, because people go, well, year on year, Rogue is back. What's really different? Callaway seem to focus so much on the internals. It's not an external story all the time. It's very much under the hood technology, and it really, really maximizing performance. And I can hear it in your voice, when you talk about the unibody and what else is going on with the new AI face and the all of it. It just this is a pretty cool for us to experience that through you guys.
Yeah, for sure. And there's a ton going on under the hood, and we've tried to bring some of that external as well, as you can see with the Tungsten Speed cartridge, and then on the fairways as well. We've got for the first time really having that on the sole as well, and kind of bringing that and showing people what we have. But under the hood, there's a ton going on with the AI face, what we're doing with the urethane microspheres, 450 in the irons, so high strength steel for the first time in the irons, which is incredible. But we always feel like we want people to put it in the fitting base. We want people to go out and get fit and try it out. People say, oh, it's not as good as my current. Go ahead and try it. If it's not better, don't buy it. But I think you'll see the stability, the forgiveness, the distance. We've made huge improvements here. This is a really, really big launch for us today.
Yeah,
that's probably my favorite thing about everything that we have to offer when it comes to the product and showing it and talking to consumers like you guys. We are consumer facing in this, and that is if you don't think that it does something, get on a launch monitor. Every single time. That's like the conversation I have with people all the time. It's like, should I upgrade now? Should I upgrade this? I tell them all the time. It's like, it comes down to you, a fitter, and a launch monitor to determine, right? And to Johnny's point, like center strike to center strike, you're probably looking at something that's pretty close. But you don't hit the middle every time. I don't hit the middle every time. Tour players don't hit the middle every time. And as soon as you start getting outside of that expanded area, over the course of a round of golf, over the half a season or a season of golf, there's your strokes gain numbers. All of these things add up to more performance to being able to play better golf. And I think that's the thing that people don't really realize. It's not one strike on a launch monitor and go, yeah, I hit it really good, it's fine. It's like, we look at the data set, you look at what it's offering, you look at how that compares to everything else that's in your bag maybe, shorter approach into a green. Next thing you know, you're saving a half shot on your par fives. Well, how does that add up over the course of a season? What does that do to your handicap? All of these things, not just in the driver, but all the way down the line, but all those things add up to a performance benefit through the bag, really, is kind of the understanding. What I always try and get across to golfers, it's not like I hit 3 balls in a simulator with a driver that wasn't fit for me. That doesn't help. That doesn't help anybody. You're wasting your own time as a golfer now, whereas if you go in and take the time to get fit, you're going to see the benefit of all these products or whatever one is going to really work for you.
Well, yeah, that's why I've always brought up the idea of the golf course driver, and I've always said that because we're all golf geeks here, and everybody wants you get a new driver. It's like getting a new car. It's like you're washing it every day, and it's perfect, and it's going to operate this and that. But eventually, that thing's going to get out on the street, and it's going to get some wear time, and then you're going to really figure out if that car was worth its salt. And I'm always looking for nuance in a driver. Does it this is cool in TrackMan, but when I get this on the golf course, is this going to actually help me? Is this going to be one of 14 friends, or is this going to be one miscellaneous in here that's cool sometimes and not so awesome on the others? And as each year goes on, starting with Epic Speed, I thought those were great golf course drivers. I mean, there's a lot of good things about the Epic Speed line. And then going into the testing and doing everything that we're doing with Rogue and all the work that Dave and team have done on these ones, once again, we've taken that golf course driver one step further. And out on tour, and I'll end with this, out on tour, there's one driver that Ian will know, I'm not going to say it out loud, but there's one super stable driver out on tour. Everybody knows what it is. It's a brick house, right? Then there's the long ones. To me, the Rogue ST line, what we have in hand right now, is we have something as ridiculously fast and ridiculously stable. So it's almost like we're having our cake and eat it too. For the first time, I can say that with a ton of confidence. We have a really, really fast brick house. It's super stable and it's super fast.
You're always a man.
That's why I'm excited, getting past launch week when everybody's seen everything. Our horse, man. I think we got a real fast horse, and I think over the course of 6 months, 9 months, when people start to dig into this, especially this driver, it's gonna be a fun year. This is gonna be a real fun year. So I'll end with that.
Nev, what do you think? We have another bracket winner get the title back at Callaway HQ?
Yeah, well, it's tough to beat the freaky deaky Mavericki, but we gotta get a good lefty model, fit into Matty Boy's hands, and I like our chances. Let's say that.
I love it. Well, boys, listen, this was above and beyond to come on and do this with us. As I say, I know it's a busy day. Delighted for you guys that the product is being received. We are watching the comments as you guys are talking. We're watching the comments come in. It's beyond overwhelmingly positive, and people who have seen it and hit it, and it's great to see. So nothing but good things coming this year. Boys, we'll definitely talk more in the next kind of couple of weeks for sure, and we should plan this again to run through the rest of the line. The driver sort of deserved its own platform, and we'll do this again.
Yeah, thanks for having us on.
Boys.
I wish we could have been together in Vegas, but it's great to see you guys, and look forward to seeing some more videos and coming on with you guys again.
Love it. All right, boys, take care.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, so I think, boys, let's kind of dive in and take some of these questions. I think that was a great way to break down obviously the models, hear from the technical guy, the marketing guy. I mean, that's perfect, isn't it? It's a perfect blend because
is Johnny the tech guy or the marketing guy?
Well, I think he's a bit of both. I think that's what makes him unique. He is that bit of both. So let's kind of guys, pass it over to you. Let us know. And I saw the comments slow down a little bit, which is great. You were listening in, but now it's over to you. What do you want to know? And obviously, this doesn't have to be about Rogue or the line. This can be anything at all. So let's pass it over. Let's see what's in there. Michael.
Let's-
Master Ceremonies.
Master ceremonies, yeah. A lot of Fairywood chat. People are excited for that, and it's funny when we're chatting about new releases. Drivers always take the cake. I mean, everyone wants to hit a driver
They do.
long,
They do.
and
Yeah.
so
That's the nature of the beast.
I'm excited to see, this new LS. RB and I were chatting about it on the pod last night. I was like, this is in his wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Very, very excited to see how these perform. I'm excited to test everything. I haven't hit the new Rogue stuff yet. Kind of tinkered with the TaylorMade stuff, but it looks really, really good.
I think the benefit is, we always talk about, a lot of times the focus is like highly skilled players,
Yeah.
right? But what would you say the average customer, I don't like using it as a point of reference, but it's a good one that people understand, like the average handicap of a golfer that comes in here. Like, they're not looking at a set of blades all the time. They're looking at something
far
that,
from it. The opposite of that, I would say, the average golfer, if we're going to look at a handicap, I would say probably 12 might be a nice wheelhouse. I feel like I have the conversation with our clients so often. We aspire to be a single digit golfer, that type of thing. So I feel like that's the wheelhouse. I mean, the Max model, I saw a quick where was it there? Question about us doing a quick breakdown of the models for the guys that missed the start there.
Yeah.
But please give a brief breakdown of the models for the guys that missed the start. So obviously start at the Max. Probably the one that will catch the most golfers, and this will be most suitable, the sort of neutral one without too much bias anyway. It's probably your meat and potatoes of your line there.
Max LS.
Yep, Max LS. Not an ultra low spin model,
Yeah.
but certainly moving that kind of CG around, a little bit relative to the Max.
I think Max LS.
you can,
Epic Max LS was great. So I'm excited
It
to
was
see
good.
that.
Yeah, that was
perform.
at the end of your breakdown. That was your kind of driver of the
Yeah,
year.
I really, really liked
That
it.
was your horse for the last year, wasn't it?
Yeah. Little Max D.
Like Max D, and so those are the three. I think Max LS, Max D.
Yeah.
Everyone's sort of three drivers, and then obviously the new one
Old Triple Diamond.
is the Triple Diamond. I saw a question earlier on about is this just available as a Tour Authentic product? It's not. It's open to anyone.
yeah.
Do either of you know if it comes in left-handed? I do not. I had a question
Believe,
about
yeah.
yesterday.
I believe it does.
Yeah, Triple Diamond
Yeah.
does come.
I
Only
think we ordered
9
one.
degree, I'm pretty sure.
Because the way to think about it as well, everyone looks at the wall and they see all these products, and it's again, from the consumer level, some people can find it confusing if they're trying to shop for themselves, right? That's we're here to help kind of narrow that down. But the way a company like Callaway or any other OEM would look at it is, what is the bell curve of golfers, right?
Sure.
Here's our Max, lower end swing speed. Maybe someone needs a fade. You're looking at the Max D. Someone needs lower spin. You go to that one, and then at the end of the bell curve there, when someone is very high swing speed, wants low spin, wants something that looks smaller, that's the Triple Diamond. That's exactly how they frame their product line, from their drivers to their fairways to their irons, all the way through. And like any golfer, what a lot of people want to see is they want to see a driver, as Johnny pointed out, brick house or whatever. You want it to be stable, but you also want a lot of golfers, to your point, aspire to be better, and also a lot of people want to have a golf club that looks cool, right? And look something that looks like it's really performance based, right? You've seen it with you guys talked about it with the 225. It's it looks really small, it looks really compact, right? But it offers a lot of performance. That's what you see with stuff like this. You see it with the fairways, you see it with the irons. You've got the Rogue, the Pro here, really clean looking iron, but there's packed full of performance. You got the cutaway of this thing. It's thin face.
It's loaded, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's loaded.
So
no, it's cool. Just seeing some questions. Neil was saying Max LS with the Ventus Velocore Blue has been outstanding. I mean, I can imagine that. They need to hit one in. I can imagine that would be a phenomenally stable, fast, great option that you could put in the hands of a lot of people.
Yeah,
it'd be a phenomenal one. Guys, we'll stay on for 5 more minutes. Again, bit impromptu. We didn't announce it. We were doing it. We were didn't want to overpromise and underdeliver. We were trying to put this together in thankfully we did, because I loved having the guys on. Some chatter there, RB, about Oem Shafts.
Yeah. So what
Shaft
do we
options.
got? We got the CK, I believe you got them there, Mike. We got the Mitsubishi is the stock with a number of them, and then the triple diamond has the, what is it called?
There's still an MMT in there.
Yeah.
Cypher in the D.
Yeah, and then the MMT for the LS or the triple diamond. I apologize.
Right.
But then so we've got the AV. Like, these are 55 regulars and stiffs.
Yeah.
But I know Callaway does offer a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we don't have the full line. We don't request the full line of OEM shafts. It's, people are coming in here for probably something a little bit different. But yeah, it's an interesting one this year, boys, with the OEM shafts. What I'm hearing a lot of, because of supply and supply issues across the board, that actually companies that had been expanding shaft lines are actually starting to really narrow them down now.
Yeah.
Because sometimes getting a skew out the door, the shaft might have been the issue, and that's hold. Even when there's a head and there's a grip, there's no shaft. They can't get it out the door. So maybe narrowing that down a little bit. So
we saw that with irons from a lot of OEMs.
Yeah.
And, that is an issue, and I think by being able to make that smaller, just it helps the consumer, and it also helps them as well. Let's be very frank about that.
Absolutely.
Exciting. I like all the new
good,
stuff.
isn't it?
Even their new putters this year. I mean,
putters are over there as well.
We all like a putter here or there, but the new Tri-Hot 5K, forgiving blade for people that should be using a mallet. You can now use a blade. I think it's awesome. I think the new stuff really, really looks good.
Yeah.
And the new ball. Well, I guess the updated ball as well. So
updated ball.
Excited to test that.
There's lots to go at here. It really is. I mean, we've got weeks of content coming from one company here, and
There's a lot.
we're going to have that across the board. Obviously, as I said, we are tailor-made. Videos are out today from Matty and I trip to Carlsbad. You and Matty were in Arizona. RB was busy changing diapers, which is good as well.
Yep.
But you're happy to be back in the working seat.
Absolutely. Yeah. I always joke with Mike. It's you end up being like an F1 pit crew.
Oh, you have to be.
You got to be fast. You got to be fast.
Yeah,
I'm good.
Yeah, you're good.
I'm good.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about it.
No, absolutely. Someone was asking there about, does the Stealth Fairway Wood have the carbon face also? It does not. Talking to Tomo a little bit about that, it's actually not advantageous to have the carbon face with the shape of and size of the face. The Zatec titanium face in the Thai model is their kind of hottest, most advanced technology material from their standpoint. So maybe down the line, if they can find more functionality out of it, but as of right now, it does not benefit the Fairwood to have the carbon face as of right now.
My interpretation of it is if you think of beam length, from how much something rebounds, how long it is, right? The longer something gets, the more it's going to bounce, like a diving board, right?
Yeah.
Well, to get something that is that small to rebound the same way, like from a driver face to a fairwood face, is completely different. It's not anywhere close to the same design of those kind of things. And if they're using that same stuff they had in the Sim 2 and the Sim, that fairwood's hot as heck. It's insane. So, I don't think when it comes to that, and you see that evolution, a lot of these technologies we saw in the Super Hybrid a couple of years ago, like the tungsten inside of the cartridge, all of that stuff. There's this evolution that companies are using to, they might test it on one product to see how it works for manufacturing. Then they realize, okay, we can apply that to our fairwoods and our drivers. And then down the line is where this technology kind of weeds its way into everything. And then, they keep doing it. They keep that progress over again, and they start it over. So
yeah. Matt's saying until next year, then they can relaunch it in the fairwoods. I mean, we're lucky, Matt. We get some pretty, honest and candid conversations with the designers when we go on these trips, and especially offline. They tell us maybe a little bit more than they can when the camera's rolling. But Tomo was pretty adamant that they were pretty comfortable with the kind of construction of the fairway wood and where that is right now. I mean, it's tough. It's tough to beat the way they've got that fairway wood. It's really, really good. Mikey Scott saying you're looking very intense today.
Lots on the go.
Lots on the go. Is it because Mac's not here and You know,
Yeah, missing my pal.
missing your pal, Matt.
He's wearing shorts somewhere, staying nice and warm.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the same been a bit, guys. Glad to see the live Understand RB F1 pit crew. It's what it is. Those babies, you got to get in and out as fast as you can.
Gotta be quick.
Yep.
Gotta be real quick.
Yep. You're cleared it up.
You don't want an oil spill anywhere in the pit.
No, you do not.
Pit lane.
Sick.
Okay, guys, we're gonna love you and leave you. I mean, this is our kind of kickoff to the new year where we don't have Matty Boy with us. He's sick today, unfortunately, so he'll be back with us as soon as he's feeling a little bit better. But so much coming.
A busy day.
It's going to be wave upon wave of new stuff. IG content coming.
Yeah, we've already shared some of the teaser stuff from the TaylorMade videos. You can go through the links on those. We're going to get some more of these close-up images up. We're going to be sharing that a little later today, especially this driver. I think, again, I'm a freaking golf nerd. That's why I'm here, right?
Yeah,
and to be able to see inside of this stuff and just be able to show that off, I think is something that's really misunderstood by a lot of consumers. They don't really know. They just they see outside of the thing. They never see the inside. And to actually see the inside of one of these things and what goes into it and how precise, as we talked about with Dave, what that means to the performance of it. I'm going to get some close-up images and we'll see it on the Instagram pretty soon.
Definitely. We haven't done an initial impressions yet. Have either of you had it, haven't you?
I've not hit the Callaway stuff.
Okay, so we'll probably do some, once we get off here. None of us have hit this.
So I hit a few putts with one of the putters.
Yeah. So none of us have hit any of the woods. So we may, just get some little IG content on that sort of things. We may jump over onto a quick IG live while we're doing that. A little bit less of a organized way of kind of communicating with you guys. So those of you who follow us on IG and you're maybe still off work or something like that, look out for that. We'll maybe make a couple of little shorts or reels or something that we can do some initial impressions as well.
Yeah, I think this is really cool. There's so much stuff here for us to absorb and then also share with everyone else, and I'm really excited about it.
Good
Not
stuff.
in the demo matrix yet. If you have an appointment tomorrow or this week, it is not in the demo matrix until probably, early end of this month. So don't come in tomorrow expecting to hit it and be upset.
Yeah, there's we will get the heads in advance of the release dates.
Yeah. We'll see them this week or next week, and then we can slowly intro them into the demo matrix.
Exactly. Okay, coming soon. Guys, great to see you all. Nice to be back. Happy New Year to those of you who are just joining us or maybe join us, a touch later than the kickoff. Stay tuned. Tons of good stuff to come.
So much.
Busy. Okay, guys. Take care.